have to read The Cattle Have Fangs. Harman Smith did it again. It's brilliant.
I know, I just finished it. The ending was absolutely wild.
Minor news out of the CD Projekt Red front. We have, out of nowhere, gotten a third expansion for The Witcher 3. You know, after years of being told that CD Projekt Red was never going back to this game, that they were leaving the IP behind, that Witcher 3 would be the last one, here we have them crawling back. After the failure of Cyberpunk 2077, they were forced to go back to the Witcher IP in order to milk this cow dry. You know, they announced the Witcher 1 remake. They announced the Witcher 4. And because both of those projects were so badly received, they had to release a third expansion for the Witcher 3 because they know that Witcher 4 without Geralt is doomed to fail. Witcher 3 sold itself on this idea that you were this cool guy going around banging broads while your daughter figure runs around in the woods by herself being bisexual, when in actuality, like, the game was slop, it was always bad, and they were always intending to go with the woke feminist subversive angle with the sequel, like making Ciri the protagonist. You are delusional if you think that Ciri isn't going to get like absolutely girl bossed by this, if it's not going to be like a complete disaster. So they know this is going to happen. They know fans are going to hate it, but they're desperate. Okay. So in order to try to placate people who just want to play as Geralt, they're going to put out like another Witcher 3 expansion. I think going by the title of it, Songs of the Past, I imagine it's just going to be a prequel DLC where, like, I don't know, you have young Geralt doing things in the Witcher 3 engine. I don't know how this is going to work exactly. I don't know what they're going to add to it, but like the fact of the matter is they're releasing an expansion for a 10-year-old game out of sheer desperation to get some goodwill out of the fan base, because the Witcher IP has been mishandled so badly over the past decade. They've done nothing with like the characters, they've done nothing with the setting, they haven't like propped up the next thing, they haven't like tried expanding it or like put another game into production. They were just like, no, we're never putting out another one after having the biggest hit ever on the PS4. We're never making another one of these games. They threw everything they had at Cyberpunk to make that successful, to try and chase the GTA audience, to try and make it bigger. And they just completely botched it. Like, they did not seem to realize that The Witcher was only as big as it was because dark fantasy was popular at the time. And they just kind of coasted off the success of like Game of Thrones and like Souls. Okay. Like The Witcher was never a brand that was able to like stand up on its own 2 feet. And the fact that like none of the other projects that they've done, whether it's like the Netflix cartoon or like the Henry Cavill show or like the books, even like nothing's really made this brand relevant outside of one specific video game, Witcher 3. And they know that. They know that, like, for a lot of people, Witcher 3 may as well have been just a new IP. Okay? Like, most people, like, never even heard of Witcher 1 and 2. And so, like, because of that, they're trying to go back and they're trying to correct this issue. They're trying to go back and really kind of cement themselves as, like, genuine good RPG creators. But instead of making something new, original, and exciting, they are just milking the cow dry. They are producing a sequel to the game that nobody asked for or wanted. They are making a remake that's probably going to butcher it. And they are releasing a third expansion that I imagine a lot of people will never play. Because I imagine most people don't even beat Witcher 3. I never beat Witcher 3. I just saw Angry Joe admit that he's never beaten the second DLC expansion of Witcher 3. Like, most fans probably have maybe put like a couple of hours into the game at best. Okay. Like, most people don't put a lot of time into these games. And as a result of that, like, the appeal of this game is that it's something you pick up in your 20s and 30s and then just maybe play an hour of it like every couple of months or so, and then just like I don't know, pretend you're hardcore. Like that seems to be like the trend with Witcher fans is that like it's an RPG made for casuals that want to pretend they're delving deep into this fantasy setting and they're super invested in like they don't really process the story or what's going on or like the characters because none of that is very interesting at its core. Like Witcher 3 was hyped as like this amazing thing, but in actuality like it got mogged by Breath of the Wild like immediately. Okay. Like Breath of the Wild was so much better than The Witcher 3. Like in theory, Breath of the Wild should have been like the bigger, more popular game like immediately. But the problem was that Witcher 3 was something that was popular with like older men, and they just had a problem letting go of it. You know, it was a lot like The Last of Us, where they just had this idea that it was like this critically acclaimed, amazing thing beyond anything you've ever experienced before, and it just isn't. And they have no desire to play the other things that exist. They have no desire to play anything because Witcher is all they care about, even though they've barely played it. Like they're plebs essentially. They don't know what they're talking about. So what we're gonna see with this re-release is that it's probably primarily just a means of like selling Witcher 3 to people again. Okay, they can probably just, release Witcher 3 on like PlayStation 5 and Series X with this like new expansion. They can sell it to a new generation of people and hope to kind of start the cycle over all over again. They hope they can get people invested in the brand again. But I think they're gonna find that like we're at the point now where much like Game of Thrones and Souls, like Witcher is just not in favor anymore. Like the dark fantasy thing is over. Like it's played out. It's boring, right? Like people are still memeing about like Winds of Winter instead of reading another book. Like again, there's like it's like the superhero thing where like it still kind of exists. It still has its hardcore fans, and it's taken quite very very seriously. But like the simple fact of the matter is, you can't wait a decade to produce like an expansion for a video game and expect people to get frothing at the mouth excited for it. And this is going to be a disaster. They are wasting a ton of time and money on all these remakes that are just doomed to failure because I think at its core like most people have never even played Witcher 3. So like if they've never finished that game, if they've never been that invested in the story of the lore, like why exactly would they go out and buy Witcher 1 and Witcher 4? Like especially considering how these games are going to be extremely polarizing and not on the level of quality as Witcher 3. Like that's the thing is that like nobody who's being honest or genuine should be excited for this. When you look at like something like the Star Fox remake where you can see that like what they did, you can see how it's still in tune with the original plot, you can see how they've like evolved it with the character models and stuff like that. Like Witcher 1 in comparison, like realistically that's something that should have come out in like 2018. Like realistically you should have just taken like the Witcher 3 engine and just transplanted it onto like Witcher 1. It's weird to me that like Witcher 1 and 2 are actually like those point and click like role playing games. It's crazy how limited they are compared to Witcher 3, which is why they never became popular. But it's like it we're gonna see this brand get sequel after sequel, like new game, new expansion, and we're gonna gradually see them do less and less numbers. It's gonna be a lot like Crash Insane Trilogy, right? Because people had this idea that like Crash Insane Trilogy was a big hit, that it was super successful, that it was gonna be this like huge platforming giant, that it was gonna be bigger than Mario, and like what happened? It just completely imploded because people only bought that game because of nostalgia and had no real interest in like further Crash products. And I think The Witcher is in the same boat. Like I think a lot of people have no interest in playing a series. I think people have no interest in like um playing the original Witcher. Like I think the entire IP is played out now, and we're gonna see this thing reach its natural conclusion in the next couple of years. Hopefully, CD Projekt Red shuts down forever after these failures.